So let's talk about the suit of wands. If you haven't joined me before, welcome. It's Nicole from Grey Rose Games, and I'm here to talk to you about the tarot. And this video is going to be applicable to any tarot deck, including what I'm demonstrating, which is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and any deck that's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith lexicon. We are going to talk about the suit of wands. The wands are one of 4 suits in the Minor Arcana, each consisting of 14 cards. Wands, like all minor arcana, concern everyday events and the people that we meet along the way. It can also be personality responses to certain situations. They represent action, inspiration, determination, ambition, expansion, power, passion, vitality, and energy. They are connected to spring and represent the light conquering the darkness. And as a fire suit, they are volatile, they're energetic, they're full of potential. They are often depicted as a branch or a staff. Wands are alternatively called rods, staffs, batons, staves, clubs, or scepters. The suit of wands is associated with the alchemist element of fire, and it's listed as the first suit of the Minor Arcana in my own personal deck that I created, the Nicole Dominique Johnson Tarot deck, because fire is the lightest element. And it's the lightest element because fire always flows up. And so I ordered my particular tarot deck according to alchemist elemental weight, and fire is the lightest. The suit of wands goes from ace, which is number 1, 2 through 10, page, knight, queen, and king of wands. They're the source of universal energy like the sun, and they symbolize human willpower, drive, creativity, and the energy that propels us forward in life. So we're going to go through some properties and some correspondences. Okay, so let's look at some properties and the correspondence of those properties. First of all, the element of the suit of wands is fire, as we talked about. And in every single card, there is some reference to fire, whether it's a color or actual flame, there's always fire. The attributes of the suit of wands, they're considered active, hot, masculine, and dry. The astrological signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The direction is the south. The season is spring. The self has correspondences of will, action, and desire. And the Jungian function is intuition. So that is a good clue for any card is going to have those particular correspondences. Ace of Wands refers to a new beginning that is the first step towards your goal. This card depicts a torch, and you can see here it's got the staff with the little holy flames, and it's like the hand of God, and it's got a little aura. There is a river with a castle in the distance. So aces are highly energetic. They're burning with energy. And this card depicts the hand of God offering you a boon. And it encourages you to take a bold step forward. If a new opportunity presents itself, you should go for it. The Ace of Wands is a bold card, helping you to use your own voice to develop your vision and take action. It is a moment of breakthrough. Here we will see the Two of Wands, and you notice one lordly looking gentleman is holding the globe. He's holding a staff. The other staff is actually bolted to this castle wall that he's looking out of. There is a rose and a lily. There's a big ocean. There's a little village. There's a mountain. And the Two of Wands is a card of planning for the future. And it shows this person looking over a vast domain. And it encourages you to employ your talents in shaping the world, and your worldview will be a product of your talents and the actions you take using those talents. It corresponds to a promising future, but one that's dependent on your skills and actions. The lily represents being free from desire. The rose represents a hunger for knowledge and experience. And the globe represents a desire for greatness. And the colors represent vitality and also being grounded. So that is the Two of Wands. In the Three of Wands, we have another figure who's standing on an abutment or maybe a cliff. He's looking out at the ocean. There's three little ships in the distance, and there's three wands firmly planted. And he's looking out at the ocean. And the Three of Wands represents that the protagonist is looking into the distance as he's moving forward with the plans that he developed in the Two of Wands. And these plans are good for everyone. And it's a card that represents that you're on the right path. It symbolizes commerce, expansion, foresight, collaboration, and waiting for the future to come to pass. It represents the actions that you've taken in the past as you stare at the ships in the distance, awaiting the results of your plans. This card can also represent travel by water. So in the Four of Wands, we have two people. They're holding up flowers or bouquets of some kind. They're celebrants. There are four staves planted firmly in the earth, and we have what looks to be a bouquet of fruit and flowers and leaves in abundance with leaves, and there is a castle in the background. Now, it could be, it's hard to tell from the watercolor, that this is a pair of people coming together in a marriage celebration, but it doesn't have to represent marriage. It can also represent a business partnership or a friendship where each has something to offer the other, that they have a kinship, and there are people celebrating, and it looks like they're dancing and talking in the background. There's a castle in front of them. And the Four of Wands represents a happy and joyful celebration, and it honors the hard work that you have put forth. This card symbolizes long-term growth and material security, and you can see that because this can also represent a home in the future because there's a castle behind them. And the wreath that's suspended by the four well-planted staves represents the union, the partnership, the marriage, the coming together of two into one. And it can represent the new home, as I said, and the couple is dressed in reds, whites, and blues, which represent passion, purity, and faithfulness. And so this is a really happy card in reference to love readings, but also a very good card in reference to business readings. The Five of Wands. We have five youths who are well-dressed. They appear to be in conflict, fighting with staffs on some uneven ground. Different protagonists are looking at one another. One of them looks to be yelling. There's a lot of commotion going on. And the Five of Wands is a card of clear competition. It's a card of conflict. It's a card of strife. And it can ask you to strengthen your skills by testing them against competitors. And in this way, it is a positive thing because your skills get better through competition. This card can also ask you to find common ground. So in a group setting, it can ask you to find what would benefit everyone, or what is a compromise that everyone can accept, so that you can create something beautiful, functional, and of value out of this chaos. It suggests that you can find a way to change this fiery energy of wands from destruction to construction. And it can represent an internal struggle that you must master in order to move forward. So in the Six of Wands, we have a noble person with a laurel on his head. He is carrying a staff that has a beautiful laurel tied to it. And there are what appear to be celebrants or perhaps townspeople also carrying wands in adulation. And there is a beautiful white horse that he's riding, and he's looking out over the crowd as the horse propels him forward. And so the Six of Wands represents success and victory and triumph. And this male figure is holding a beribboned laurel high on his staff as he rides high. And he is confident. He's welcomed by his community as a leader. He's worthy of praise, recognition, and celebrity. This card represents winning a battle or a successful campaign. So as you come from the Five of Staffs into the Six, you have found a way to move forward. You've found a way to celebrate that victory, because this card represents winning a battle or a successful campaign. The writer isn't shy about that. He's proud. He's aware of his accomplishment, and that he is totally welcoming of the public acclaim that his community is giving him, and they are giving him energy to move forward based on his victory. Here we have the Seven of Wands, and it is a person that is striding two different lands with a river in between them. He has a staff, and there are 6 other staffs which appear to be challenging him. And the Seven of Wands shows that you're willing to defend yourself in what you believe in. You are willing to persevere to overcome challenges. So the energy that you got from your community is allowing you to stand your ground. And this is a card about maintaining control, about being strong-willed, assertive, forceful, protective, and relentless. This card indicates that you're a warrior spirit who isn't afraid of speaking up, acting up, and fighting for your truth. You are willing to go to battle for your beliefs because you know that they are worth fighting for and standing up for. Next, we move on to the Eight of Wands, and you'll notice there's 8 staves that appear to be flying through the air. There's a tiny castle in the background, there's a river, some rolling hills, and the Eight of Wands shows these staves flying through the air, and it can represent a very quick or swift change. There's beautiful clear skies, and that indicates that there's nothing that stands in your way. This card shows that you've moved past the conflict in number 7. And you're experiencing positive growth because of standing your ground. And you see all the little leaves that are blossoming from the staves. And this card represents action, speed, excitement, freedom, positivity, and energy. Your hard work is paying off. You're seeing results. It can also indicate a swift travel or trip by air, and just quickness in general. Just whatever question you have is going to have a quick end to it, so you won't have to wait for long to see results. Here we have the Nine of Wands, and there's 8 wands behind him, and he is leaning against 1 wand. This is a person who has been to battle. The Nine of Wands depicts an injured person leaning on a staff. He is clearly battle weary, but he's still invested in winning. He has steadfast determination. This is not a person who's given up, but he is extremely tired. This card shows someone who's halfway through a battle, who's feeling drained, but he's wiser, having experienced failure. And everyone in life is going to have some failure, and that makes you wiser. This is a person who understands the cost of battle. It is not something that has no cost to it, and he understands now the negative downside to failure. This card symbolizes the battle affecting the mind and body. This card symbolizes a battle affecting the mind and body, but it invites your determination to see things through. Here we see the Ten of Wands. It's a youth struggling to pick up 10 heavy wands. There's a little village in the background, some plowed fields and a castle. And the Ten of Wands represents an untenable burden that cannot be sustained. And in this way, we see a person carrying a very heavy load of 10 saplings in front of an estate home. And this can represent overwork and being overextended and burden and oppression and struggle. This card indicates that your duties and responsibilities are leading to overwhelm and burnout. And this card can indicate an uphill battle and that the fun has left life itself. It's just drudgery. It's pure drudgery. And remember, it's important to remember, because the 10 is a card of completion, you are close to the end of your struggles. Now, this may mean that you need to delegate in order to move forward and in order to avoid damaging your health, but the end is nigh because the 10 is a card of completion. Here we see the Page of Wands. He's standing in a desert. There are 3 pyramids behind him. He's looking up at his staff. He's very well dressed. You'll see there is the salamander print on his garb, and salamanders are a corresponding animal to fire, and fire is the element of wands. So the Page of Wands represents a creative youth or a young at heart person who's inventive, who's passionate, who's creative. The Page of Wands is a trigger to chase your bliss, follow your dreams. And like all pages, the Page of Wands is a messenger standing in a desert delivering inspirational messages. The salamander also represents transformation as well as fire. And this page, he believes in himself. The beautiful big green leaf growing from his staff symbolizes his potential and his ability to make things happen, and his willingness to follow through on his big ideas, his creative spark. He believes in himself. And so even though there are distant lands in the background of this card, he believes he has what it takes to take him to those places. He believes that his ideas will carry him to the future that he wants to experience. Here we have the Knight of Wands, and you will see he also has the salamander on his cloak or his robe that's covering his armor. He has a horse that's leaping towards battle, and he appears to have real flames coming out of his armor. Perhaps they're feathers. It's hard to tell. But this is someone who is charming, who's rebellious, he's free-spirited. And this is a person who's ready for action. This is a horse that's about to leap into the future. And this is a person who has a fiery determination. You can see the fire element on his body. And he has a very, very strong desire to be successful. And this person takes inspired action with energy, passion, and enthusiasm. He, she, or they are wanting to take their new ideas and move forward in confidence and with vision, and they are convinced that their plans will grow and multiply and be fruitful, and he is ready for that. He is absolutely ready to leap forward with the inspiration that is filling him, her, or they. I often say him because originally the tarot was very binary. It was masculine and feminine. And I often say he, but it does not necessarily mean it has to be a male. It can be a more masculine energy without being a male. It can be non-binary. It can be a very self-confident woman. It does not necessarily mean a male, but originally this was painted as a male. Next, we have the Queen of Wands. And you notice she has a black cat in front of her. She's holding her staff. She has lions on her throne. She has lions on her banner. She's holding a sunflower and has sunflowers on her banner. She has what I believe to be a lioness cloak pin, and she's wearing a crown. And the Queen of Wands represents a person who is fiery. She's vivacious. She's courageous. She's confident. She knows who she is. This is a person that's optimistic and always in the center of happy chaos. And she is a multitasker with a tendency to be hot-tempered and sometimes could be forgetful due to being overscheduled, but she's super generous. She's self-empowered. She's determined. And the sunflowers signify her great potential for growth and success, while the black cat represents that she's lucky and she has tamed her dark impulses and she's in touch with her shadow self. She knows exactly who she is, and she feels utterly confident in her ability and her maturity and her ability to reign subtly. And that is one of the beautiful things about the Queen of Wands. And we tie up the King of Wands. You'll notice he has an actual salamander next to him. His cloak is covered in salamanders. There's salamanders on the back banner of his throne, along with lions. And his crown is shaped like flame, and he has what I believe to be a male lion head. She has a lioness head. He has a male lion head as a brooch or a necklace, a pendant. And he's looking out over a bright blue sky. And the King of Wands represents boldness and charisma, creativity, inspiration. This is somebody who's going to jump in. He's going to chase his dreams, and he's going to have positive fire energy. So he's going to have a constructive fire energy, not a destructive fire energy, because he uses the positive masculine energy of his suit to execute his mission as a hardworking leader. And he's focused, he's forceful, he's exciting, he's daring. The King of Wands uses spiritual energy to bring his goals to fruition with kindness, optimism, and power. He leads with action, vision, and honor. And so I love that his little companion is looking out the way her companion is looking out. I just think it's cool that they've got their little spirit totem animals with them. And that is the suit of wands, which, as I said, in my personal deck is the first suit of the Minor Arcana, but in some decks it is not. Some decks do not follow alchemist weight in the way that they list their suits, but in mine it does. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, give me a like, comment, go ahead and subscribe so that you get notified every time I release a new video by clicking on the bell icon. I thank you for joining me. I hope that you found this insightful and interesting. And let me know in the comments what your favorite card of the suit of wands is. And if you happen to want to check out the deck that I personally created, you can find that at grayrosegames.com. And I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. Thanks.